Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sound Lodge Podcast, also known as the Lodge Podcast.
Let's go.
The Sound Lodge.
Let's go.
Let's go.
This is the hypest music podcast there is. We will be screaming.
Welcome back to the craziest music podcast on the internet, the Lodge Podcast.
I usually add a transient shaper after my compression.
EQing out the resonating frequencies makes it sound way better.
Welcome back, everybody. Today's
Welcome back.
episode, this is episode 4. Yeah,
Episode 4.
it's very fun.
Yep. Exciting.
We're having a blast doing these. Hopefully, y'all are having fun listening to them and asking us questions.
I'm having a lot of fun doing these,
Yeah,
actually.
these are a lot of fun.
This has been nice, just sitting down, talking, chatting it up. But we got some questions from
We do
you
have some
guys
questions.
today.
Very fun, very fun. As you know, that's the point of these podcasts is to answer y'all's questions. So you can go in on the Discord, link in description, and join, and then go to the channel, ask us questions, and that's where you
That's what you do.
ask questions.
You do the question
All right,
asking.
today's episode is going to be kicked off from the one and only Goatse.
What did the goat say?
Asking a great question, because last episode we talked about how hard times can fuel creativity, which is very true.
It is very true.
And Goatse says, how can you find inspiration when things aren't going well? When things
things
are
are.
going well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then is it difficult to make happy music? This is a really good question.
That is a good question. I think, without a doubt, I definitely make the best music when I'm going through it, for sure.
Yeah.
And just the best art in general. Like, I'll always, be like, I'm just going through a rough time. I need to make something weird right now. And then it turns out really cool. But I think definitely, if you struggle to make happy music, just don't make happy music. You know, if it's not in your nature to make like a bunch of happy stuff, that doesn't mean you might not be a happy person. Like, you can be a fully happy person, but just the music that you're creating when you're super happy and life is going well, you might not be a fan of that type of music. So just don't make it. Just make whatever you feel like making. And I think also, you don't really have to draw on things that are happening directly to you right now. You can draw on things that have happened to you in the past as well. You know, hard times, things that you've been through throughout your life. It can be past experiences rather than like you have to be suffering right now kind of a thing. You know?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think some people they enjoy making happy music, so they make happy music. I feel like some people,
Whoa, that's a huge whatever that is.
that was a hornet, a yellow jacket just ran up against the window there. But yeah, some people enjoy making happy music. Some people make more melancholic music.
Yeah.
You know? And I definitely think I'm one of those people. So I think, but also like, you can make melancholic and kind of slow music that isn't just depressing. You know?
Like a lot of love songs, I would say, are not really like happy, but a lot of times they have like a good uplifting message.
Yeah.
But that's, I would say, the other avenue that a lot of people go with, that people who don't really want to make depressing, like sad boy emo music, they'll go with like the love song vibe, which is generally a happy theme. It's not like, you know, maybe the girl doesn't not love you in the song. Maybe you actually do. You guys get along well. But
How about you try that? How about you try writing a happy ending for once in your life?
why don't you try writing like you can form a relationship with a human being? No, yeah, but I think like there's different vibes that you can go with that don't have to necessarily be super happy in like the Lil Yachty happy genre, or like you don't have to be like Jack Johnson songwriter kind of vibe where you're just everything's super happy. You know, you can make, you know, different avenues of music without it being super depressing. But I would say definitely in the traditional sense of like super happy music, definitely I struggle to make super happy music because I just don't find a lot of inspiration in music like that, because a lot of it feels fake to me. Because when it really comes down to it, if we want to get real, you know, literal and real depressing with it, a lot of life, I would say 80% of life is not happy. You know, it's struggles, it's hard times, it sucks. So that's a lot of what art and a lot of everything is going to pull from, is that depressing side of life. When you're, you know, feeling all good and everything, you're honestly not even really thinking about making art that much anyways. You're just enjoying the life part of it. So
Totally. Yeah, no, we just tried to make a happy song for one of my videos, and it was very difficult.
And we tried it another time too. Remember we tried to make that
even
other
off.
one?
No, that was for another video too that we just totally scrapped.
It was because it was so bad. It was so corny that we were just like, no.
That was really
Not doing
funny
that.
because that was going to be the first Park Ranger song.
Yeah.
We're like,
and I'm
we're going to make some
glad it
like,
wasn't.
yeah, exactly. We were like, let's make some kind of upbeat indie rock music. So we
Yeah.
tried to make it, and it just, the chorus was pretty catchy. I do
Yeah.
remember the chorus was actually catchy, but
chorus was
we
good,
could
yeah.
not write the verses to save our lives. Everything
Right.
was just sounding so corny.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a distinction between happy music, where it's happy because of the song sonically, and happy because of the lyric content. Because I think of a song like "Freak" by, wasn't it Surf Curse? What a
Oh yeah.
I am just a
Yeah,
freak.
yeah.
Is that what it is?
Uh-huh.
That song is super upbeat. It like super upbeat, like lo-fi indie rock kind of thing. But it's not a happy song.
Yeah,
he's
that's
talking
a good
about like
point.
I need somewhere to hide my face because I'm a freak, and that's like totally not what you think of as far as sonically, because it's a very upbeat song. But then there's a lot of songs that are happy songs that are very slow as well. So I think that's one distinction is we think of happy song and we immediately think, okay, it's got to be super upbeat. But
Jack Johnson
yeah,
beach vibes.
Yeah, but it can be, like it doesn't have to be like a 70s like surf rock kind of vibe, It can be a slow song that's also happy lyrically.
Yeah.
So I think if you do want to write happy music, approach it from the aspect of sonically make the same thing, but change the lyrical content to where it's about something happy rather than sounding super happy. Yeah.
And like your first point, if you struggle to make happy music and naturally more like sad music is just naturally coming out of you, make the sad music. Make whatever
Just make whatever you want.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't try to force it. But
That's the main thing. Don't force anything when it comes to art or
Yeah.
music,
We totally resonate with you though, Goetze. And you'll see it in this next video. But that's another thing is like that. I don't listen to a lot of happy music, but the happy music that I do listen to is like folky.
Yeah,
like you
true.
think of National Forest and then
Right.
Gregory Allen. Like those are not upbeat happy songs, but they make you feel good.
Yeah. They sound like sad songs, but then when you listen to the lyrics, they're actually happy.
Yeah, totally.
So I think that's kind of a good vibe to go with.
Yeah, great question though.
That was a good question.
The answer is yes, it is difficult to make happy music. And
Yeah, I have so much trauma that I physically can't make a happy song.
who knows, we might make happy music in the future.
Yeah,
The
at
funny
some
thing is
point.
like
When I'm 35 with a family, maybe I'll make
Yeah.
some happy music.
like mentally I'm doing really well, you
Yeah.
know? In
Yeah, I'm
Nashville I was
chilling.
definitely going through a hard time, but like mentally I'm doing really well right now, and we're making Park Rangers songs that are all they're not depressing, but they're very like melancholic.
Yeah. Well, even when I think about Phases is not really a depressing song. It's just a slow song, because that's just like a very cool way of thinking about like, the way that nature changes and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to explain our lyrics too much because people got to figure that out for themselves. But, it's definitely, I would say it's a happy song for sure.
No, totally. The next two songs though are definitely
Those are not happy songs.
Those are not happy
Those are depressing songs. Actually, very depressing songs.
do this every day. I smoke on the fire escape.
Yeah. Not happy songs. So if you're expecting, a happy song,
Yeah.
that's not happening.
Yeah. All right, next question is from the one and only Jesus. This is probably one of the most important questions we've had
Yeah, this is a big one.
for this podcast, and it is who would win in a fight between you and 600 middle schoolers? 600 is a big number. Middle schoolers are taking me down for
That's
sure.
a lot. And some middle schoolers, there's some big middle schoolers
Yeah,
out there.
dude.
Because that's like 8th graders including as well.
Yeah.
And
No,
8th
totally.
graders are like 14 years old. A bunch of, they're taking me down.
What's the number that you think you could take on?
Mm.
Like even when you think of 50 middle schoolers that
Yeah.
are surrounding you, they could
600 would
Yeah.
demolish me.
all you need Jesus, great question, great idea. Let's get the numerical values right here.
Yeah, we're going to take your question and just rephrase
Because
it.
I'm thinking 3 middle schoolers for each limb, and I'm
Yeah.
done. So all we really need is like 20 middle schoolers to take me down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Honestly, my number of middle schoolers would probably be around like 20 or 30. Because I feel like a few of them, I could just one punch sock.
Yeah, at the very start, before they dogpile you.
Yeah.
True.
And I feel like I could stave them off for a little while. Like just kind of like kick a few of them, kind of like hold your arm out, stiff arm
Yeah.
a couple of them. So I think probably around like 20 or 30. If it's both of us, definitely like 20 or 30. I
Oh,
think.
for sure.
Back
Yeah,
to back.
back
like,
to back.
Like the scenes from the movies where like a bunch of ninjas are coming in and fighting you, and we're just fighting like 5'4" middle schoolers.
Yeah, Jesus, we'd love to hear the number if you think you can take down 600 middle schoolers, please give us your reasoning. I want a full rundown.
If I want to hear somebody's I want to see who has the highest number of middle schoolers that they could take on in the comments and your reasoning.
Yeah. All right. The next question is from the one and only Callie on the Discord. And they say, how has being self-taught with instruments changed the way that you make music? Have you and I considered taking lessons for music, for instruments? Good question.
What do you say?
I would say, yeah, I'm going to the second part because immediately I got a thought. I don't think for instruments I would take lessons. Maybe for piano, because I feel like getting really good with piano could be fun. But I've definitely considered taking vocal lessons because that's something that I could definitely use some help with. Like, I'm confident with my voice. I like how it sounds. That's taken years to get to that point, but I still have zero training. Like, I know you're supposed to sing with the diaphragm. I know a few breathing stuff when you try to sing. I do warm-ups, but like, technically I have no clue what I'm doing, which I think is better. Because if I got lessons when I first started singing, I'd probably be singing like a theater kid.
Yeah,
which would
very
not,
true.
Yeah, which would not be what I want to sound like.
Yeah, so. Exactly. I think that is definitely, if there's anything to take lessons for, it probably would be vocal lessons because it's such a not tangible thing. Whereas with piano, it's like you literally press these notes here. With guitar, you do this, press these, strings down. Drums, it's like you hit this in time with the rhythm. With your voice, anybody's voice can do literally anything. So it's important to have kind of like a foundation or like a little mold for this thing that is such a fluid, all over the place kind of thing,
Yeah.
Like you can't actually physically hold it like you can with like a trombone or something, So I think that would be the most worthwhile to get lessons for.
Yeah, I think my voice is also very soft, and I want to be able to like hit some notes, Like, I'm not a confident singer where I can like go out and like hit notes.
It's some of those Ariana Grande little whistle tones and shit.
And I'm not a projector when I sing, which I think is the reason why I like how my voice sounds, and that's the reason I make the music I make.
Right.
Is like I sing softly. I think of like Phoebe Bridgers, but she can also hit the notes.
Sure.
It's because she's definitely had lessons. So
right.
Yeah, I would say singing lessons would probably be my answer.
Yeah, even I think about, like, I think I mentioned in the last one that drums is probably my favorite instrument now. I wouldn't even take drum lessons because I like how I've got the point that I've gotten to just off of teaching myself and just off of playing and messing around and practicing. So I don't think I would really ever take lessons for most instruments other than, I would say, maybe piano, because piano is the one that I have always wanted to just be like very fluid at, and just to have somebody be like, here's what you're doing. And I think that would be the best thing about taking lessons of any kind, is having somebody that can look at your particular situation and say, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to improve on based on where you are specifically. Because you can watch a million YouTube videos of how to play different chords and how to do different scales and whatnot, but it never pertains to your situation and your skill level exactly. So that would be the nice thing about taking lessons of any kind. So scratch the piano thing. I may at some point like try to get a guitar lesson or try to get a lesson for another instrument or whatever, just so that somebody who knows what they're doing could give me a pointer or two, that I could actually use. And that would be nice. But
yeah, totally.
The other part of the question, it definitely has changed how I make music, and I think how we make music a lot, because I don't think about things in the traditional sense of like, oh, what scale are you playing in? It's a G major. I need to go to the G major pentatonic scale on the guitar. I literally, you play something on piano or play something on guitar, I just find whatever notes sound good in my head. So therefore, that has made me a lot better at ear training. Like at my like relative pitch or whatever is a lot better because I've had to just find notes that sound good. And that way I've kind of come up with my own set of rhythms and melodies and things that sound good to me based off of just what I've learned from experimenting. Whereas a lot of people who take lessons, there's like a certain lick that you play, in a certain scale, in a certain key that just they know is going to sound good. So they go to that. For me, it's like I just do whatever in my head sounds good and whatever I like based off of the song. So I think I've learned to make music to the actual music, to the specific song, rather than based on a scale or based on a lesson that I heard,
Yeah, that makes me think of just indie music in general always has some kind of weird aspect to it. And indie music is very tied to jazz. And jazz is a very fluid thing to where
Yeah.
you jump out of the scale a lot. And I think of indie music and I think of indie artists who most of them are self-taught. And exactly like the way you make music, when you're just finding notes on the guitar when I play a chord, and you find them one at a time on the strings, and then you make a chord that you have no clue what it is, but you know the relative shape, and it sounds really good, and it also kind of has like this jazzy feel to it. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of drawing a correlation between indie music and jazz and being self-taught rather than like pop and knowing what you're doing and being like, okay, let's just play a regular G major.
Yeah.
And not make it a seventh or a ninth or a weird sus chord.
Right. I almost could not even imagine playing any instrument and not playing like a seventh chord or a ninth chord at this
Totally.
point, you know, because that's just what my brain goes to, what my
Yeah.
brain wants to hear. But that is a good point because I think there is a big correlation between indie music and jazz music because just a lot of the artists who do indie music are very inspired by jazz. Like I'm very inspired by jazz. Like I listen to jazz music a lot. Like if I'm ever just like stressed out or whatever, I'll either put on jazz music or I'll put on like ambient meditation music.
Yeah.
And just in general, if I'm like cooking or if I'm doing whatever, I'll just listen to jazz because I just love the melodies and I love the soft way it sounds. And to think about it, that's what I like about indie music as well. It's just like that soft nature to it and that just kind of like the dissonance between certain chords. And I love weird chords that have like a lot of dissonance to them. And that's very jazz, very indie thing.
Yeah, dude, jazz is the best.
It's awesome.
Like if I had to choose one genre that I could only listen to for the rest of my life, that would be in the debate.
because then I can pick like jazz fusion and I can pick like
Yeah.
jazz, like rock underneath there. So I think that's honestly a good choice.
Yeah, cooking with jazz music is one of the best feelings ever. Jazz is also one of those genres where like you hear a jazz song and you're like instantly in rainy New York City.
Yeah.
It has one
Like
of the
if you
most.
listen to like Bill Evans or whatever, you just are immediately
Yeah.
transported to New York in the 1970s.
It has a very heavy ambiance.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And also to that point as well, a lot of jazz musicians are self-taught as well. Of course, there are a lot of super technical jazz musicians who went to school, went to Berkeley or whatever, and know how to play like insane stuff.
Yeah.
And know what they're actually doing. But there's a lot of guys a lot of the classic jazz musicians who are just fiddling around, you know?
Well, dude, I think that's also a funny thing to think about is a lot of the jazz instructors at Berkeley were self-taught. And now they're teaching these musicians who are very talented, but they're learning how to be self-taught basically.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool thought.
Yeah, it's very true. I would say, what do you think is the percentage of musicians who are self-taught versus have taken lessons? Because I think a good percentage are self-taught. Like you think about some of the greatest musicians of all time, like Jimi Hendrix and people like that are just insanely talented musicians, but they're self-taught. You know,
I think if you're self-taught, it's harder for you to break through, but when you break through, you have a much heavier, a much higher chance of being like a trendsetter and to be like a Jimi Hendrix if you're self-taught and you break the rules and you do your own thing. So when we think of artists like that, it makes you think, oh, there's a lot of self-taught artists, but then the people who are like a step below that and are very successful, but maybe people don't know their name and they're just very good musicians, I think most of them technically know what they're doing and have had lessons.
yeah. I think honestly, when I think about it, the people who have had lessons end up being a lot better at playing music rather than making music, because that's definitely a big distinction that I realized at one point, that there's people who are great at making music and then there's people who are great at just playing music, who are like classically
Yeah, that's a good
trained,
thought.
who have just gone through like the school band system and everything. And that's very different from being able to write your own music, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. If you had to throw out a percentage, what would you say?
It's tough because you have to then take the entire world of everybody making music, which includes people in cover bands and
Yeah.
includes all that stuff, which that's what I think. Like a lot of people who are in cover bands and stuff are probably people who have had lessons. So they're better at playing the music rather than creating their own music, you know? Because there's a lot of people who just do covers or they just, perform in like, orchestral situations or whatever. And they're great at, playing the music, but anytime they try to write something, it just doesn't click for them, in the same kind of way. Whereas like with us, that's what our foundation of music was based off of is creating the music rather than just playing it, you know? Because obviously it's fun to like play songs and learn songs here and there, but we gathered the tools that we need in order to make something new rather than play something that already exists, you know? And it's a different toolkit than other people.
Yeah, no, totally. We learned instruments to make music with, not really to play music.
Yeah.
That's a good distinction. Yeah, I don't even want to throw out a percentage because I just have no... There's a lot of labels we'd have to create. Like, who is actually in the debate?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it just a person who's picked up a guitar or... Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a good thought, though.
Yeah, it is.
Let us know in the comments if you've had lessons or you're self-taught.
Yeah. And what you think your number is for how many people are, or how many, specifically the number of people, no, your percentage of musicians out there who are self-taught versus not.
Let us know the number and the reasoning. 1 billion.
It's like when you go to the little party when you're a kid and they have this jar of Skittles and you have to guess how many Skittles are in the thing. Whoever gets closest wins.
Great question, Callie.
That was a good question.
Being self-taught has definitely changed the way we make music. And
For the better,
for sure. Yeah. The next question is from Svet, and they say, "What do you like to do when you aren't making music or videos?"
I like to go into small villages and pillage and steal their crops and burn down their huts and things of that nature.
That's why you've been gone so much?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of pillaging.
How many villages are in Oklahoma?
Not much anymore.
Not as much, yeah.
I've been gone a lot. Been hitting a lot of villages. We should answer this in 3 parts. The first part, what do we like to do when we're not making music if we're doing something together? And then each individual. The first thing that comes to mind for me is tossing the Frisbee.
That is a fun activity. Yeah, that's really a new one we picked up.
Yeah. I wonder if that was audible on the mics.
Yeah, buddy, just like, all right, Frisbee, come on now. Yeah, we haven't hooped in a while.
Yeah, but
and I feel like we need to get back to hooping.
Yeah, hooping it up. I got some hoop dreams still.
Yeah,
so
they're still alive.
Yeah, tossing the Frisbee, doing sports of really any kind. Just sporting it up. Definitely playing a little Minecraft.
Minecraft for sure. We've been watching. We just finished Game of Thrones. You've never seen it?
Yeah, it was my first time watching it.
I rewatched it. We watched it as a household. Very fun.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
It's a great show.
I would say like second to Breaking Bad for best show ever.
Yeah, it used to be number 1, but this time watching it, I was like,
the last 2 seasons are just kind of fell apart.
Breaking Bad is just so good, man.
Yeah, it's incredible. But no, yeah, watching some Game of Thrones. We play some other games here and there, but we play a lot of Minecraft when we do play video games.
Stardew.
Yeah, Stardew. We were playing Sea of Thieves for a while. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun, yeah.
Also, thrifting. We haven't been thrifting in a while, but that's
I was going to
really
say
fun.
that too. Yeah, thrifting and then just figuring out stuff going on in OKC.
Yeah.
And farmers markets and stuff like that.
Yeah, the farmers markets are a lot of fun. I love going to those.
No, if you're in OKC, let us know some stuff to do.
Yeah.
Because we are definitely trying to figure out stuff to do. But I think something that we will definitely start doing more is doing live stuff. Because after that first performance, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was definitely nerve-wracking, but
definitely
we survived. We're here, you know?
Yeah. It was definitely one of the real big feeling outside of my comfort zone moments that I've had in a while.
Yeah.
Which is nice, you know?
Yeah, no, and after that, like every time after you get out of your comfort zone, you realize how helpful it was. And you want to go get out there and do it again.
Yeah.
But it's been about a month and a half since we did that. And I don't remember the last time I was out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, true.
So we definitely need to figure out something like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, what do you like to do just by yourself? Like if you have let's say a weekend that you can just do whatever you want.
A whole weekend?
Yeah, you have a whole weekend. You can just do like all of your favorite pastime, hobby things. What are you doing?
Yeah. I think weekend, I love watching movies.
Yeah, you are a big movie guy.
Yeah, I love movies, man. Movies are the best. Movies, I do like reading. Reading is very fun. I really like watching college football. Like I love all sports, but I'm not really as up to date with any other sport except for college football.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to the fall.
I'm looking forward to that too because college football is really big here. I know also like my family in Iowa, college football is really big there too,
Really?
because they have no sports teams as well.
Yeah.
So like all the states.
Hey, we
that,
got the Thunder. Come on now.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Don't dog us like that.
No, that was fun.
Yeah, and we had a
'Cause
run.
They did really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they do good this year too.
Yeah.
We got rid of Josh Giddey, so we're
Well,
on a
you
better
didn't get rid
track.
of him.
Yeah, he's still with me.
Yeah.
Josh Giddey follows me everywhere.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but all the states that don't really have like a whole lot of sports teams really gravitate towards college football, and so I'm excited to get into that. And
Yeah. No, I've been a
Get hyped.
diehard OU fan my whole life.
Yeah.
So I just love college football. But yeah, so Saturdays in the fall, I'm mainly just on the couch for the whole day,
Yeah.
just watching college football. But yeah, reading, like not on the weekends, but something that I do about every day is exercise. Like that's a big part of both of our lives,
definitely,
and I think it's very important if you make music that you should. If you don't exercise right now, just try to get in the habit of going for a daily walk.
yeah,
Like, got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Get the blood flowing, dude. It's going to be difficult to get outside of the house, but once you get back, you're going to have so much more energy to get into the work.
yeah, you'll be a lot more creative as well. A lot of times,
Very.
that's what I would do. Is I would just go for long walks when I felt burnt out, and that would instantly kind of rejuvenate my creative juices and whatnot. And even if you don't go out and go for a walk, like if that's not your thing, just every hour or so, just do like 15 push-ups. You know, if you do that, you're going to be so much better off, because
You're going to be jacked, too.
you're going to be jacked if you do that.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you just get some sort of movement, some sort of exercise, other than just sitting down for the whole day, you're going to be in a lot better position. Because that is a huge thing. Like, us as humans are not meant to be sitting down for the entire day. It's just not what we're supposed to be doing. So even though making music is a great thing and it's a lot of fun and it's a great creative hobby or career, whatever it may be, it's really important to get out and exercise and
Totally.
get your blood moving.
And stay hydrated.
Yeah, that's a big one.
What about you?
I have always been a guy who has a lot of hobbies. Like, I'm interested in a lot of different things just because I love learning new things and I love trying out new things. So there's small things that I always like. Like, I always like to read. I'll always just, we were saying, go for walks. Like, I've always been a pretty big walker. So sometimes at night I'll just walk for like
Yeah,
2
you
or
are a
3
big
hours at a
walker.
time. Yeah, there's been times where I'll just walk like 15,000 steps a day and just walk and think and listen to music or whatever. But walking, I like to cook as well. Like, I do really enjoy cooking. It's a very meditative kind of thing. Just listening to music and cooking is great. Gardening is fun. That's another thing. We kind of do that together here and there. Yeah, I don't know, playing sports, exercising, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just pretty much whatever I am
You're
feeling
crocheting
like at the
right now,
time.
too.
Yeah, crocheting right now.
You're getting good at that.
Yeah, no,
Sewing.
I will just pick up random hobbies here and there. Like, there was a while where I was doing like some woodworking kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, and then there was another point in time where I was trying to do like make my own like t-shirts and stuff. So I would like cut up the shirts and I would like try to like paint them and do different stuff like that. And
Sick.
so just, it's honestly whatever I get inspired by, I'll just kind of do, and then sometimes I'll drop it after a week, or sometimes it might become like a lifelong hobby. So it just depends. But yeah, I just baked a sweet potato casserole a little bit ago. That was pretty good.
It was awful.
Yeah, it was uneatable, dude. Disgusting.
No, that was good. That was fire.
And I was just, just messing around, chilling, having fun.
Yeah, so those are some things we like to do when we're not making music or videos, but we're making music and videos a lot
Yeah.
of the day.
Yeah, very true. A lot of the day is spent editing or
Yeah.
filming or whatever we might be
Which is an interesting
podcasting.
thing, because if you asked me this question when I was in high school, like, what do you like to do when you're not in school? It would be making videos and
Yeah.
music.
Very true.
But now it's, what do you like to do when you're not working?
Yeah.
It's like, well, my two favorite things are making music and making videos. So.
True. Yeah, because that is a thing. All, questions aside here, the main thing I love to do is make music. I love to make music and I love to make videos. And honestly, I would say that like the making videos thing has kind of become secondary. Like, a lot of the time now I'm just like, dude, I would just want to lock in and make some music. But when I actually get into the swing of making a video, I get so passionate about it. And it's like, dude, I love doing this.
Yeah.
I like have to remind myself how much I love doing it.
No, totally. Yeah. That happens like 2 times every time you edit a video. When you're like, dude, I love this. And
Yeah.
then 20 minutes later, you're just like, get me through this edit.
Yeah, it's like right before I start, actually right before I film, right before I start editing, I'm always like, this sucks, man. I should just go be an accountant somewhere.
Oh, dude, setting up the shot before you film a video,
Like, this shot sucks, man.
and then you have to be like, what's up, YouTube? And I'm just like, I do not want to do this right now.
Yeah, dude. It's like, well, I could just take a nap right
It's
now.
also when
honestly.
you're making a song for the video and you're in the you're like fully in the music mode. Like this just happened today. I was tracking mandolin for that song and I was like, okay, I figured out the melody. Now I'm going to play it and record it. But then I realized I'm making a video for it. So I had to get out my camera, set it up, screen record the recording thing.
Yeah.
And then that vibe was just kind of lost.
Yeah, it's like you got to bring your little brother with you. It's like, man, what? I got to set the camera up, dude.
Yeah, that's why we need a photographer.
Yeah, true.
Videographer.
That would be really nice. If you're in OKC and you're a photographer or videographer, hit us up. Let us know.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Andrew and Rob, like their Sonic Boom thing.
Yeah.
How they just have a studio and an engine. Dude, having an
Studio
engineer.
multiple photographers.
I mean, like everybody can do that, talk in circles all day and be like, oh man, I wish I had this.
True.
It's like, dude, we have so much. We have nice cameras. We have DAWs. We have experience. Like we have a bunch of stuff that we're definitely fortunate and blessed to have. But
Totally. However,
engineering a song for 3 days after the video because I know I have to upload it just kills
such a
all
buzzkill.
momentum. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, no, that's a very good point though, because I vividly remember the feeling of just starting out YouTube and getting so passionate about it and being like, I don't want to film videos on my iPhone anymore. I want like a real camera, like I have to get a little bit better quality here. And that feeling of being like, oh man, just whenever I can get that camera, whenever I can have the little bit better quality, I can upload in 1080, my videos are going to be so much better. And just that like wrenching feeling of, oh man, if only I had a little bit better quality. And now we got there and we're like, it's whatever.
If only there was an actual person filming me right now.
Yeah, it's like upgrade from like I want a camera to now I want a person that holds the camera. Yeah, no,
it would be nice though.
It is very nice having a cameraman because there's been a few times that like Logan or Cyerson has helped me with the video and it's very nice because also another factor involved with videography that a lot of people don't realize is how much personality somebody holding a camera can add because each different person is going to zoom in on different things. They're going to emphasize different things with the camera. They're going to have different angles and things like that. And so the camera becomes another personality in the video as well, which is a really cool thing that I've always thought. So that's,
Yeah, also just a little bit of camera shake instantly makes the viewer feel like they're in the room with you instead of you just setting up a static. Like that's why I've done it in a few of my videos, but a lot of people recreate that digitally. Like they track and they automate zoom ins and pans and rotates and stuff just to make it seem like somebody's in the room filming.
Yeah.
Because whenever, like you said, not only does the cameraman bring their own personality to the video, but it also just makes the whole video way more personal in general. And it makes the listener and the viewer feel like, oh, I'm just hanging with this guy right now.
Yeah, exactly. And also another factor is that camera movement is always going to make everything look more cinematic as well. Because if you look at any sort of big blockbuster movie, I would say probably 5% of the shots, if even that, are going to be still tripod shots. There's always some sort of movement, even if it's just the tiniest little like dolly like movement forward. It's always going to have some sort of camera movement in every shot because it just adds that cinematic look, And so that's what anytime I do something cinematic, I always try to have a little zoom in or a little something like that with a like static tripod shot because it just adds so much to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the inside DaVinci Resolve, there's a little camera shake filter.
Really?
You can put on. I use it a lot,
That is
actually.
nice.
I use it for the super exaggerated effect where I put it on and then I put everything all the way up to max until the camera just shakes.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime I'm like raging or like something crazy is happening, it'll just be that shaking.
That's sick. Yeah, what I do is I have a video, which is an iPhone footage of me filming a wall with like some objects on it. And I'm just holding the camera and just like slightly having my own shake. And then I nest my footage, which is basically like grouping my footage into a certain track and putting that video over it. And then I stabilize the group. So it's detracking whatever I did with that camera footage and then I delete that top track in the group, and it just leaves that bottom one.
Yeah.
And that's much more difficult than just throwing on Camera Shake.
Yeah. Literally for me, it's like drag and drop this little thing. And you're like, I have to match the camera shake from my hands up to the new shot, and then unmask the thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's also another thing I'm super passionate about is just videography and editing and stuff like that, cinematography.
Yeah, that's a good point. I really love photography in general. Photography and videography for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm starting to kind of get into photography, but I'm definitely more of a videographer.
Yeah. Yeah. How come you guys don't ask us if we're self-taught videographers or photographers? Because I actually took a whole year of photography class. So
Did you really?
Technically, I'm not a self-taught photographer. But also the thing is, I definitely am a self-taught photographer because everything that they taught us in that class, I had already learned.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was stuff that I just either knew intuitively or knew from like watching YouTube videos. And I remember because the class wasn't just an elective class, so the majority of the people in there were like seniors who were just trying to get another class to fill up their schedule, and so they didn't really care about the class at all. And I was like, dude, photography is awesome. This is going to help with my YouTube videos. It's going to help with everything I do. So naturally, I am like getting real value out of it, and nobody else really cares. So I remember I would take pictures, like it was like our first time ever taking pictures with a digital camera, and I took like a really close-up picture of a grasshopper, and I got like a lot closer than you should have been able to with the lenses that we were using. And I remember it popped up on the screen. She was like, who took this picture? And I was like, I raised my hand. She's like, this is incredible. And then she went into like a whole lecture to the whole class about like how to like get your camera closer to like focus it when like the lens isn't like within the focal distance and all that kind of stuff. And I just was like, dude, okay, they're going to think I'm like this, like, I'm like the Hermione Granger of photography class. Yeah. And then I remember there was multiple other instances where the same thing happened. Like I took a picture of my little brother, like a close up of his face on film, and I printed it out. And she walks into the classroom, stops the whole class. We were like editing on Photoshop or whatever for like doing prints or whatever. She comes into the classroom, stops everybody, and she was like, everybody look at this. She was like, Felix, you need to frame this. This is an amazing picture. So I was like, dude, come on. These kids are going to hate me.
No, yeah. I had a moment like that too when it was like a creative multimedia thing, and we were like doing 3D printing stuff.
Yeah.
And it was basically
cool.
like you just made objects out of, like I made the Colosseum out of shapes and stuff, and then you 3D printed it. And my teacher would always just be like, guys, everyone go over to Coleman's desk. And I'm like, dude, this is the last thing I want right now.
Yeah. No, I remember being in the opposite seat as well. Like I took graphic design, and there was this one girl in my class who was just incredibly talented with graphic design and doing like digital art stuff. And so the teacher would always call us over to literally gather around her computer and just like marvel at what she's created. And I was like, dude, come on. I want to get back to making my travel poster of Alaska.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right. Let's wrap this one up.
Yeah.
All right,
was
so
the question from the last one?
As y'all know, every episode, and this is Buddy, by the way, at the end of every episode, we ask y'all a question, and y'all answer it, and then we also choose our favorite answers. So last episode's question was, Felix asked a great question. He said, how many of y'all are how many of y'all are pursuing music as a career, and how many are pursuing as a hobby? And I think the stats were, it was like, I think 70% were career.
Yeah, I saw that.
30% were hobby.
Which that's surprising to me, actually.
Yeah.
It's cool to see. But it goes to show that we're trying to do something in a very saturated market here. A lot of people are trying to make this a career.
For sure.
So you do have to, do things to stand out and differentiate yourself from other people.
No, totally. And I think we've talked about it so much, but just the state of social media and how everybody, instead of just making art just to make art, they now feel like they have to make it a business. So
now you can't just be a musician. You have to be a musician and a content creator as well, which is an insane thing to think about. But
yeah, an influencer.
Yeah, you have to be a musician influencer.
I influence the culture.
I influence culture by did we just make the song of the summer TikToks?
I
shaped live with those. Yeah. Imagine me like, dude, did we just make the song of the summer TikTok? Saved my life, man.
Some of those comments on those videos where it's like, sit down if you want your day changed. And like someone who is obviously an actor sits down and they start crying because this dude's playing a trap beat. Some of those comments seem like it actually did change their day.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, How many of y'all know that this is the most fake thing ever? This dude is singing into a lav mic and it's crystal clear recorded vocals with reverb. And he's like outside with people talking and birds. And then people are like, this just made my day. It's like, okay, I'm
so
glad it made your
wholesome.
day. But I don't like how this video has 1 million likes and this is the fakest thing ever.
Yeah, a lot of those people are just straight up NPCs. Like, I actually do wonder how many people that you see on the street are real people and not. Because there's no way that all of these people are real. Like, there's
dude,
no
I'm
way
right
that
there with you.
somebody commenting on one of those TikToks that's like, obviously all the comments should be hate comments, but there's that one guy who's like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is incredible. It's like, dude, you're not real.
Or the people that you just run into in daily life where it's like, so if the package is heavy, you're going to choose flat rate.
If it's heavy.
It's like, that is not that's an AI.
Yeah, we went to that post office and we got assigned a quest, I think. It was like, press X to accept the quest. Just a straight up Skyrim
And the dude
NPC.
just did not tolerate any silence.
Yeah.
So after a sentence, if we didn't jump in and say something in the response time of 0.5 seconds, he would have restarted exactly his whole spiel.
It was straight up like scripted dialogue.
that was
He had lines he was reading.
All right. So great question from Felix. And we got an answer from Zombie X Leader. And they said that they never grew up with anyone musical. So they want to prove everybody what they can do. So they're choosing to do music as a career. And he said he can do that by just doing it as a hobby, but he really wants people to like see his capabilities. And I think what he's saying is he wants people to like see that he's successful doing it.
Like prove his skills within the results of
Yeah.
the thing. That's a very different perspective from people like us who definitely grew up around music and around musical people for pretty much our whole lives. But I think approaching anything from the perspective of I got to prove something to somebody else or I got to do this for somebody else is never really sustainable. And it's never really something that's going to make you feel fulfilled because honestly, what's probably going to happen is you're going to become successful and then everybody else is going to be like, oh, dude, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. They're not going to be like, oh, this is guy. He's made it, you know? They're going to be like, oh, cool. Good for you, man. And then you're going to have the most lackluster payoff from like you blowing up when you thought it was going to be like a big, like, look what I did. Like, check this out. I'm better than you guys. Not necessarily like that, but like even if it's a thing of you trying to prove yourself, you're not going to prove yourself as much as you think you will, you know? So I think just going at it from the standpoint of loving the music and loving what you do and wanting to create something cool is going to be much more fulfilling and much better for you than trying to prove something to somebody else.
Totally. It's also, art is such a weird thing. And that's a very popular source of fuel for a lot of people. Like you think of sports, almost every like GOAT of every sport got to the top kind of with that mentality of like, I want to prove everybody wrong. I want to prove myself. I want to be the best. And, you know, you think of sports, you also think of like just leaders in general. That's how they get to the top is through just climbing over people and getting there. But art is such a weird thing
Kind of
that
spiteful in a way.
yeah,
sometimes.
I feel like that's just not a natural way to make art is by climbing over people. Art is such a collaborative thing.
Very true.
It's such a
It's something that should be shared with other people too.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's something that should be used as like a way to prove something to somebody. It should be like something you share with other people, you know, because that's what makes it really very wholesome and very fulfilling thing is when I can be like, dude, look at this song I made and like, look at this, you know, composition, this beat, whatever, and show other people and share that with other people. That's a really cool feeling. And I think when you have the mindset of I got to prove something to somebody and I got to make it because of these other people, what they say about me, you lose that aspect of sharing music and, you know, being able to collaborate with people, you know?
Yeah, it also just puts you in the wrong mindset of everything. Like I talk about it in that Keep Going video, how like in college, my freshman year, all of my friends were rushing. So they were all joining fraternities and I chose not to. And they were like still my best friends. and they still hung out with me a bunch. But for some reason, I saw them as I kind of saw them as people that I needed to prove wrong, you know? And
Right.
they're just like the
Just
most
existing.
loving people ever, you know?
Yeah.
They're like, dude, how are you doing, man? And I'm just like, I'm doing good. I'm going to
fine.
prove all of y'all wrong.
I'll
And that's,
show
dude,
you.
that's what like totally propelled my channel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to paint around that. Like I just grinded for half a year, just
Yeah.
like full grind mode in my
Right.
dorm 24/7. And I'm thankful for it. But
Yeah.
if it lasted any longer than half a year, I probably would have, you know, it'd be dark. Let's just say that, you know, if I just, because I would see people as people against me,
Yeah.
like my best friends as people against me. And
Right.
even at some point, like my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, yeah. So I think that's just never the way to do anything, trying to prove people wrong. Because that was
Yeah.
a great point you made. Even the people who are like, I really like what you're doing. You're passionate about this thing, but let's think about some plan Bs. I've been told that my whole life.
Yeah.
And 80% of the time people have told me that, I would just get so mad at them. And I'd be like, you don't understand. I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
But you made a great point where like then you do reach success and they're not going to be in the background like, I
Yeah.
told this person to choose plan B, but they succeeded. They're going to be so excited for you because the reason they said for you to look for a plan B and to find other options is because they love you.
Yeah.
They're actually doing it in your interest.
Right. And a lot of times they just don't understand, or it's hard to quantify how passionate you are about something, because there is a lot of people out there who I would also give that advice to, because you can tell that they're not as driven and they're not as psychotic about the thing that they want to, their dreams that they want to achieve. And that's how I think a lot of people who give that advice are used to seeing other people, used to like the half-assed effort. And for both of us, I think it aligns the same way, where it was either plan A or die.
No, totally, dude. Like all the people that would tell me that have now seen that I have not gone to college in 3 years, and I've been doing this full time, and I've had around $200 in my bank account the whole time.
Yeah.
And they saw that and they're like, okay, dude, you keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think you've decided your option.
Yeah.
You know, they realize that I'm not just doing this because I want to be a rock star.
Right.
I'm doing this because this is actually my life.
Exactly. Also, the thing that's nice too is that we don't have to be kids anymore, where adults are telling us, "Are you sure you don't want to go to college? Like, you don't have a plan B for that? Are you sure that how's that going to look on your transcripts or whatever?" Like, we're full grown adults now, and this is like our decision that we've made to live life, and we've gotten by on it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, at the point that we're at, we basically have proved people wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Because we're existing, doing this thing that we love doing. But I think also, like, that is a great point that you had made about, like, you start to see other people as enemies because you get into the mindset of, like, this is me versus the world.
Yeah.
And it's never a good thing when you just let your own thoughts kind of sit in your brain, like ruminate, I guess is the word. I've heard that word so much recently, but like you ruminate about your own thoughts, and that always just creates this like vacuum chamber of negative emotion that is just constantly swirling around, and you start making yourself like crazy.
Yeah.
Like you paint these people who are your friends as villains in your head, and like you get these weird ideas about like, I gotta do this, I gotta like prove this person wrong, or like I gotta make it so that like whatever. Most people are in your corner. Most people are with you. They want to help you. But if you never voice your opinion about like what you're going for and like what your goals are, then nobody ever knows. And so then you will just keep continuing to vilify these people who are actually your friends, you know?
Yeah, your mind steamrolls like over and over. You have one thought that turns into the next, that turns into the next, that turns into next, that turns into one of your friends coming up to you and saying, "Hey, how are you doing, man?" And since you had that first thought that's turned into literally everybody is against me. Now this person says this and you're like, "Oh, that proves that this person's against me."
Yeah.
Because he said, "How are you doing, man?"
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you wouldn't have gotten to that point if you didn't just, like you said, ruminate with your thoughts. And I think journaling, that is a great way to just get out of the head and write everything down. And then you're like, okay, wait, what am I saying right now?
Yeah,
This is
big time.
crazy.
And being able to just journal freely and just write down whatever word vomit of what's in your head is really important, because I find for me, anytime that I'm just overwhelmed and there's just a lot of thoughts going on in my head, writing down literally everything that I'm thinking about just totally, it's like emptying out the recycle bin in your brain, because there's so many things that sit up there that don't need to be in there, and your brain uses effort to hold on to things. So that's why even if I come up with a video idea or an idea for like a song or short or whatever it might be, I automatically write it down, because I don't want it to my brain and my body to use effort to try to remember that
Yeah.
and to keep holding on to that. I just write it down and then I forget about it and come back to it later, and it's like, oh, that was a great idea. Same thing with any sort of negative thoughts. If you just get it out of your head, then you can look at it and be like, that was ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have even gave that any thought.
Yeah, I don't need to hold on to that, because that thing's just gonna whisper in my ear when somebody asks me how I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. Also, the subconscious is like such a weird thing to talk about.
Yeah.
And that's why I think journaling is so powerful as a creative, because you start writing stuff down, just getting thoughts out, and then you write something that's not even on the forefront of your mind.
Right.
You're just naturally writing it down, and you see your hand write these words, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And it's like,
Yeah.
I've had video ideas, I've had business ideas, I've had a lot of things come from just journaling, and then something out of the subconscious just gets like plucked out that I've never even really thought of.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. That's why I think dreams are so cool. Because like, you'll dream about something and you don't even realize that the dream reflects an insecurity or a thought that you've been having, and you're like, whoa, like I guess I have been thinking about that lately. Or like, I guess I have been worried about this thing or that thing. It's really incredible. Dreams are such an awesome thing.
They're wild.
And yeah, like you said, just the subconscious in general is it's crazy. To the fact that we have a whole other part of our brain that we can just sometimes tap into, and like most of the time it's just inaccessible, is a really crazy thing.
Yeah. No, it's wild. Yeah, I don't know if Kanye did it. I don't know why that name is popping up, but it's a practice that I've heard about, which is the first thing that you should do when you wake up is just to write as fast as you can for a minute, because you're still in like your theta waves or your alpha.
Right.
I don't know which one it is when you're sleeping.
I think it's theta. You have like some theta waves still.
Yeah, which you usually don't have when you're consciously awake. So I've stopped doing that, but I used to do that, and I've had some pretty crazy ideas doing stuff like that.
Yeah. I've done that, but not like in the morning before. Like I've done it just at a random time during the day. And it's very interesting to see kind of what you come up with. And also you kind of bounce off of whatever you write down too. So like your brain will write down like soup, and then you'll go like, oh, vegetables. And then from vegetables, you're like, oh, fruit. And then you start writing like, oh, just a bunch of random things that are all like interconnected and related to each other. And like, why even now was soup the first thing that I thought of? Who knows?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
It was up there.
Yeah, no, that's also a songwriting trick, is the web way of writing.
Yeah.
And people have done that a lot. But also with that whole theta thing, like I think it was Einstein, or it was Edison. I think it was Edison actually. But he slept with a ball in his hand, and then right before he fell asleep, he would lose consciousness and he would let go of the ball. So the ball would hit the ground and he would instantly wake up. So he would never fall asleep, but he would always just tap into that theta brainwave.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's cool that you guys want to pursue music as a career. Keep doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
And also for the people who want to pursue music as just like a hobby, totally cool too. And honestly, could be better in some scenarios because it just takes the pressure off. I think there was a comment that somebody left, is that like just doing music as a hobby makes it a lot easier. It makes it a lot less stressful, and you can just kind of make whatever you want. So that's a cool route too. It just depends on you as a person and your vibe.
I will say it's going to take a lot of sacrifices
Big time.
if you want to do it as a career. And
Huge time. Yeah.
if that isn't the number one thing you want, I would definitely weigh the options.
If there's even a doubt in your mind of like, do I really want to do this? Am I really all in on this? Am I really passionate about it? Like, do I want to, be a dentist or something instead? Think about that instead, because
Yeah.
I think if you're not fully committed, if you're not fully like balls to the wall in on music, then don't do it.
And also, it's not like you're vowing in blood that you're never going to make music again.
Yeah.
Dude, you're still going to make music. You're still going to have like 40% of the day to make music when you get home.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe you choose to do it as a hobby right now. Like I said, you're not vowing to never do it again. Maybe you do blow up when you're doing it as a hobby, and
Right.
then you can do it as a career. But
and there's no time limit on these things either.
yeah.
You know?
So I think if you want some sanity left in your life, then like choose it as a hobby for now and then see where it goes. But if you have the mindset of like, I want to do this, this is what I want, you can look at both of us and realize you can do this as a living.
Yeah.
You're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices and you're not going to have a lot of disposable income, but it is possible.
Yeah. We've done it and we're just dudes, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, like, I remember being in your shoes, whoever's listening to this, and thinking these guys who make YouTube videos, make music as their career, as their full time, there's something different about them. You know, they've got something that I don't have. We don't.
No.
We are just dudes. We literally have taught ourselves everything. There's nothing special going on here. There's no nepotism, nothing behind the scenes. We're exactly like you are, just people doing music stuff.
Yeah, if you just like are a fly on the wall in a conversation between you and I, like at the end of the day, you'll just be like, these are just two dudes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we're not these musical savants.
Right.
We're just two dudes.
That's like even Mac DeMarco. I remember him talking about how a lot of people think he's some sort of god and that they like revere him. And when he meets people on the street who are, it doesn't happen a lot, he was saying, but when he does meet people on the street who are like starstruck, just like absolutely in awe of him, he'll literally take them to his house and show them how boring he is. Like he'll just make music and they're like, actually, this guy's really boring. I'm just going to leave. And then they just leave after like 15 minutes of him just like nerding out on the keyboard, you know? So most of the people you see are just normal people, you know? There, of course, is going to be industry plants and people like that who are obviously got something going on. They've got connections in some way. Their dad is friends with the guy who owns UMG or whatever. But at the end of the day, you can smell those kind of people from
And there's
a mile
also going to be
away.
musical geniuses out there.
Of course, yeah. People who are just gifted.
Yeah.
But a lot of the thing is you don't really need to be some sort of musical savant these days to be successful. You can build up your talents in multiple areas so that you can make somewhat of a career for yourself without being a Jimi Hendrix or like a whatever, Tim Henson, the guy from Polyphia or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Tim Henson, the greatest guitar player of all time.
Yeah, Tim Henson, the second best guitar player to Jimi Hendrix, of course.
I don't know who Eric Clapton is.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix
Eric Clapton,
and Tim
never heard
Henson, and those are the two people.
Yeah, those are them. Those are the guitar players. And me,
Tim Henson
honestly.
is insane, I will say that.
Yeah, no, he's pretty unreal. He's definitely like one of the best modern guitar players by far.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So our question for today's video is something that I was thinking about like a week or so ago. And I was thinking about songs that blow up. Like I think about TikTok songs that get really big and things like that. Do you think that there's something innately special about those songs, or is it all just promotion? Is it all just enough people saw it and it just caught on? Or is there something intrinsically almost kind of like, and I don't want to say divine, but like some kind of mystical more to the song than, you know, just being like, a lot of people saw it, you know, It had a lot of ad money put into it. So people saw it a bunch, you know, and listened to it.
Yeah, and it's definitely a combination of both, but you have to choose one. You can't just say, I think it's both.
Yeah.
So you have to choose one. Where does the scale lean on this?
Yeah, because there's a lot of TikTok songs that I hear and I genuinely am like, this song is bad. It's not good. I don't like it at all. And then there's also some songs where you just listen and maybe even if the song isn't popular, it's like there's something magical about the song, you know? Like I think about just different songs that give me a certain vibe where I'm like, I just love listening to this. Regardless of even my love for music, it's like this just makes me feel very fulfilled.
Yeah, there's
listening to it.
music that I've really, like I'm thinking of Joe, and he had a song that blew up recently on TikTok, but I've been a fan of his for a while, and I just loved his music. And that song blew up, and I was like, this makes sense because this is such a good song. So there's been instances.
Chicago song?
Yeah. There's been instances where I think it's objectively a really good song, and then it blows up.
Yeah.
And that makes me think like, okay, I do think better songs have a better chance of blowing up.
True.
But there's also songs that are like, this is a TikTok sound. I'm singing about summertime, post your dog.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's like, okay, that makes sense why that blew up on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that is an interesting thing. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Curious about that. Also, we also answer our own questions, and we're going to answer this one. Are we pursuing music as a career or hobby? Hobby.
Yeah, it's just a hobby. I don't really care about music very
Just a
much,
hobby.
honestly.
I work at Goodwill. I may be working at good. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Episode 4 of the Lodge Podcast.
Thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time.
Peace out.